No pressure.
Another one, I mean, well, people know downward facing dog, right? A lot
Sure.
of people know that pose.
Right.
And people, a lot of times the focus is on getting your heels down.
Right.
Okay.
That's the
But that's
last
not
thing,
really
right?
excuse me?
That's the last thing they should be
That's the
focusing on.
last thing, right?
Right, yeah.
So one of the things to do is because again, you're in a class and you're looking around. Everyone looks like they've got their heels down, so you're trying to do that.
Sure.
So what I would suggest to do is to bend the knees. So let go of the legs altogether, and really make sure that you're stretching through the arms and that you're flattening the back. So you're pushing the hips back, so you're feeling the stretch in the mid and upper back because that's the part that's tight. So a true a true downward dog is supposed to look like a mountain. In certain traditions it's actually called mountain pose, and it should be flat. So most people, because of their tightness in their back and their hamstrings,
Hamstrings,
they've got
calves.
that rounded back.
Yeah. Okay. That's
So
awesome.
I work on it by just really making sure I've supported the wrists by grabbing the ground and push my hips back and bend my knees, and it's a great stretch. It feels nice. You can feel between the shoulder blades and the mid back.
So it's almost like with a downward dog position, you're starting from the hands and working your way up
Mm-hmm.
to the hips and then back down to the
Yep.
feet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's fantastic. That's a great point. Well, people think about yoga. I want to go a different direction right now. So people think about yoga. We've talked about flexibility. It's pretty obvious that anybody who's been doing yoga for a period of time is flexible. But one of the arguments we get is like, oh, if I do yoga, I won't be strong, right? So what about yoga to build strength? Is this beneficial for us too?
I think it's beneficial. I think that part of strength training is you're strengthening one muscle, you're shortening the other, right?
Right.
Isn't that how that works? And it's
Hmm.
tightening up. So I think by keeping the body flexible, you're going to have more range of motion. So that's like the first benefit. Um, and then as far as I think the body awareness that you're developing too will help. A lot of the postures and I guess, and I don't think, and I don't want to generalize, and I don't have that much experience, but I would think that most strength people that really are training for strength probably aren't hyper flexible.
No, no.
No.
Usually that tension
Yeah.
generates residual tension, right?
So I think that, really creating more space in the joints is probably something that needs to happen,
Right.
and more range of motion. So I don't think becoming too flexible is going to be an issue, or being hypermobile. Because a lot of times those that come to yoga hypermobile, then you really got to walk, you got to really have them really make sure that they're engaging the muscle.
Right.
Otherwise, they're just usually it's the shoulders and the upper arms that are getting really twisted out of shape.
Right, right. Yeah, I've met somebody with hypermobile joints, and I know what you mean. It's almost like where most people don't have the flexibility, they don't have the stability, and so you have to
Yeah.
teach them that stability through firing their muscles consciously. Otherwise, they can end up really messing themselves
Really.
up at the same
That's
time.
it.
So what about positions like, I just know this from personal experience. I've taken people who were extremely strong and put them into a position, I don't know what the position's called, but where you're standing on one foot and you're hinged forward at the hip and your arms are overhead, right? And
Okay.
I traditionally do this as like a glute activation drill, but it's the same position they use in yoga. And I see these people shake and start sweating, and then their breathing goes up, and then they fall to the side and say, oh my God, why is that so hard? I said, well, you're only holding it for 20 seconds. Have you ever seen that with people? Are there poses that you do with people that you see people have a hard time with like that?
Really shake. So you mean just by having your arms extended and just doing a forward bend?
Forward bend on one leg, yeah.
One leg.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's so much going on there.
Yeah, yeah,
Going
yeah.
on there. I mean, you've got their arms overhead, so now that they probably have, if they're inflexible in their shoulders. That's taking a lot of energy, and anytime
Sure.
you lengthen the levers, it's going to take a lot more energy. And then the balance. Yeah, I think um, I say for the most part, people have a lot of trouble with just downward facing dog to go back with it again. That's a huge strength building pose for the average person.
Sure.
And and now you're taking them on one leg. I mean, that's asking a lot of, the average person. So I'm thinking, I have to be honest, I work with a lot of beginners.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I don't, to be
So
honest,
you don't go to that level.
no, not,
Yeah.
I don't. I
Yeah,
really don't. My
gotcha.
own personal practice, I do that kind of stuff. I do headstands, but I don't work with a lot of that population.
Right,
I work with
right.
a lot of very tight athletes and, a variety of, beginners.
Awesome. What would you say? Let's say if you could pick like 5 particular positions or poses that you
Okay.
felt like were the most universally effective or that you maybe
Okay.
prescribed to people the most, what would they be?
Okay. So starting with, I'm going to start with the hips. So the first thing I would do is half butterfly. You know, the traditional butterfly that we do?
Right, you put your feet together.
It's another one that everyone does wrong. They have their feet way out in front of them, or they have their feet way, they have their feet way toward their inner thighs, or their crotch, actually, to be quite honest. It's where their feet are. And what they end up doing is they round their back, and so they're not stretching their hips at all. So instead I would suggest a half butterfly. So you would keep one leg extended and bring one leg in, so the sole of your foot is against the inside thigh of the straight leg.
Right.
And you're bringing the knee up and down, gently pressing down, working on increasing the flexibility in the hips. So I would suggest 30 to 50 of those on each side each day.
Wow, 30 to 50.
Doesn't take that long. It takes like 30 minutes. Takes like 3 minutes.
I'm just bitching and moaning because I have tight groin muscles. So
so that will help your groin, and it'll help your hips and your low back. So that one for sure. I would also suggest cat-cow pose.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's a full spine. It extends and flexes the spine.
Yeah.
I would suggest downward facing dog.
Yeah, downward dog. Okay. And you guys, if you guys don't know what these are, you can take out your pen right now and jot them down, type them into YouTube, and you could probably find a video on this stuff pretty easy, or an image or something like that. So, because cat-cow, I completely agree. I think it's one of the best positions just for lightly and gently mobilizing the spine and developing an awareness of the spinal column.
That's the one you should hop out of bed and do every day.
Yeah, that's the one I should do right now after sitting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got 3. We got the half butterfly. We got the cat-cow. We got the downward dog. What's 4 and what's 5?
4, I would say shoulder rotation, and you can watch me. I will do it for you right now.
Okay.
You inhale your arms forward and come up, and as you exhale, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Okay?
Yeah.
And then continue, and then you go in the opposite direction. So you're really opening up the shoulders. You're increasing flexibility in the neck, and it's a great one. And I've seen a lot of people who lift a lot, and they're such limited mobility. So if you find that you're one of those people, you can also do it one at a time.
So opening, that sounds good right now. If you guys are listening instead of watching right now, so basically she's just doing large arm circles with her hands on tops of her shoulders, right? And so she's just making giant arm circles with her elbows as she goes through that motion. And that actually feels really good. I don't think I've done arm circles with my hands back like that before.
Yeah, so that one's a really good one. And, I guess, you just did this to your neck. I saw that. So the other one, because we have a lot of tension here. All the nerves of the body run up through the neck, so even more tension is built up. So the other one I would suggest, and I'm not sure if this is the 5th one, but I would, now that you just did that,
we got to put it in there, right?
I would say neck, any kind of neck movements. There's a couple that we offer in the Shapeshifter program. So either just taking the head over the shoulder, and you move with the breath. So you exhale as you turn. Inhale to the center, or take the ear toward the shoulder.
Yeah.
And feeling that gentle stretch. And again, moving with the neck. And in all the classes that I teach, if people haven't closed their eyes before, when they get to that posture, they're like this. Their eyes are closed, and they are in the moment, and they're connecting to their body. So those are 5. I'm not sure if they're... Oh, and you know what they should do also? This will be a 6th
bonus pose.
A balance posture.
Okay.
It's really, and actually, you should probably do a 7th one. You should do a twist, because all good yoga, all well-rounded yoga practices have forward bends, backward bends, a twist, and a balance posture. So for the balance posture, I would suggest something simple. Perhaps not the one with the leg behind like you had suggested, but just simple tree pose.
Okay.
With the hands at the heart, and you're balancing on one foot.
Sure.
You've got your leg bent and your foot into your thigh. And then just a very simple twist. There's one called sleeping abdominal pose. So you actually lay on your back, you've got your hands behind your head, and your feet are flat, knees are bent, feet are flat on the floor. And you just inhale, exhale, let the knees go to one side, and you twist your body to the opposite side. So you twist your upper body the opposite direction of your knees. And that's a nice way to keep the flexibility of the spine and to have a little bit of a twist. Awesome. So those are 7. So not 5, 7.
Okay, well, you guys got some valuable tools here. That's some great information, Chris. Thanks for sharing that with us. You keep saying the Shapeshifter program. So I want to just take a moment here for you to kind of describe what the Shapeshifter program is. You've partnered with a friend of mine, Adam Steer, to create the Shapeshifter yoga program. So tell us a little bit about it, what it includes, what people can benefit from using it.
Well, the Shapeshifter program, there's a video, obviously there's video, and there's an actual program manual. So you'll be guided through by me in a follow-along video.
Oh, perfect.
Of about a 60-minute program.
Okay.
And you also have individual videos of each posture. So say there's a day you don't want to do the whole thing, you can go to the individual videos.
Oh, perfect.
In addition, you'll get an electronic version of the manual, and that will have all the postures detailed on how to do them. So again, if you don't have access to video, you can still look at the description as well.
Very cool. Very cool. So it's a step-by-step yoga program for you to use at your house. You don't have to go join a studio. You don't have to compete with anybody who might have tighter hamstrings or a better outfit than you.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And the nice thing too is if you have questions, you can go ahead and bring them to our attention, and I will probably personally answer them.
Oh, fantastic.
So if you have so it can be very personalized, even though you are by yourself in your home doing the practice. If you do come up with a problem, a lot of people will send in questions about, hey, I've got, I just had knee surgery. What do I do? I've got really tight hips. I can't sit on the floor. What do I do? So I've given a lot of advice just via the however they contact us. I'm sorry.
Email.
Support line. Yes, support line. Thank you. Support emails. That's
there you go. Right on. Well, Chris, I really appreciate you taking the time to get on the phone with us. I will definitely post a link to the Shapeshifter yoga program below the interview. And I don't know about you, but I think I'm going to go do some yoga.
I think I am too. I do need to do a little bit more by the end of the night. Actually, after sitting here talking to you too, I'm kind of hunched over. So
I've got a bridge and a handstand in my near future, I think.
There you go. There you go. Well, Tyler, it was a pleasure talking to you too. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.